Okay, we are now live on the other phone. So I guess I will just do this for the duration. I'll just hold it because I couldn't get the other phone on the tripod to work. But we are now live on Facebook. So
Awesome. Cool.
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Gail Hudson.
Hi, Gail.
I'm Elizabeth Harbin.
Hi, Elizabeth. And you know who I am if you're looking at this because you're on my page. This is Deborah Rose, and we are three old women that have nothing else in common.
Wait, back up. We got lots to do. We're not using old.
Okay. Well, this is going to jiggle for just a little bit because I'm going to see if I can brace this on something for a minute. Hey, there's my baby. Because the other phone wouldn't connect. So bear with me for just a minute. And I may be able to put it on the tripod. So that's the noise you hear. And you're going to see a little jiggling. And now I've covered us up for a minute with my hand. But look, I got us on the tripod. So there we are. Yay!
Awesome.
So let me tell you what we're doing, guys. Facebook used to let you do live Facebook feed. And you could add people to the Facebook feed as like participants. But they stopped doing that in November of 2019. And I didn't get the memo. So... we decided yesterday that we wanted to do this, and then we realized that we couldn't, and me being the rebel and don't tell me no type of person that I am, I came up with this system. So we're trying it. It may or may not work well. We hope it does. We are all logged into Facebook Live watching this, so we can see your comments. See, because Gail just said hello, everyone. And my honey just said hi, and he's kind of regulating this for us. So we will be addressing you, and I'm going to let Elizabeth tell you what the heck we're doing this for.
Well, that was really nice of you to throw that to me. You're evil.
I am.
I love you.
And I must be destroyed.
Yeah, would be good. One of the things that we want to do, especially in this trying time that we're in, the main thing we're wanting to do is to let people know that you have three people here who are obviously definitely being affected by what is happening from business point of view, family point of view, all of the above. And what we're trying to let you guys know is that we are trying to come up with different things that we can do that can help you guys get over this energy, get over the fear factor, whatever you want to call it. And so what we're coming up with is spiritual network. And spiritual network is a combination of all these different people. We want you to join us. Eventually we're going to have a meetup where you can actually physically go there. I know it's a shock. But in the meantime, what we're trying to do is to let you know that, yeah, there are those of us that are here. Yes, we're struggling trying to figure out what we're going to do for income, seriously, income at this point. But what we also recognized was the fact that we're going to make it, we're going to get through this, and we need for you to also be aware that you're going to make it, you're going to get through this. So we want you to send us questions that you want us to try and answer. If you have a solution as to what you're going to be doing, let's say for the next couple of weeks, let us know. All three of us have different groups. We're getting those involved as well. But the main thing on this is to share our love of community. And I think right now that is so important. Even if we can't reach out and touch each other in a physical world, we can in a virtual world. And the point of that being, this is another way to expand your intuition. This is another way to expand your belief system. This is another way for you to have things arise that can potentially be healed. So there are good things to this. One of the things is this right here. I would not have done this had this not put me in a situation where I was going to have to work this, because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to have to do it. That's not something I really wanted to do. And now, here we are.
Well,
It's going to force y'all to do things too.
I am glad that we're here. There's a story behind all of this. So, Gail, can I just kind of tell them how all this started rocking and rolling?
Sure.
So, I have been in a situation where I've had a lot of my friends die in the past couple of years. And, it's been very shocking into my sensibilities on many levels. And I'm very much an introvert. I'm very self-sufficient, but I do like having at least two friends, one in each back pocket. And when your pockets get empty, you really feel like your soul is empty. Seriously, if you don't have any money in your pocket, you feel empty. You don't have any friends in your pocket, you feel empty. And for whatever reason, Gail reached out to me one day, and she hit me at the right time in the right moment, and I said, girl, I need something. And Gail was very instrumental into me being more public about who I am from an intuitive and spirituality standpoint. As well, many years ago, I went to one of her retreats. So we went and had lunch, and I just kind of bared my soul to her, which is not something I do with a lot of people. And I said, I need some community. And I said, I have my church, and I love it, but there's a part of me that I cannot share there. And even though I love my church, and then I said, there's another group I go to, but there's no bonding there. We go and we share our spiritual gifts in this community, but there's no bonding. I said, I need all of that in one format. And she goes, I'm on it. I mean, seriously, she was like a general at war. I mean, she had a mission from God, and she was on it. And the next thing you know, she takes me to lunch and introduces me again to Elizabeth. I'd met her casually before, but we'd never really connected. And we got to brainstorming, and we all had some things that we were looking for. And the next thing you know, I'm like, we need a spiritual neighborhood. And so we started a page, because that's what I do at midnight when I can't sleep. And within 2 weeks, we had 670 likes on there. And I'm like, we need to do something with this. And this is where we can at least give and get other people to come and join us, hopefully. And so then we scheduled a meetup, and it got canceled. And we scheduled another meetup, and it got canceled because of what? This little bitty bug floating around? Can you imagine that little thing having so much control over our lives? And so we're like, Elizabeth's going, we got to do something. And we had some other ideas, and this just kind of manifested yesterday. And I know it's blessed because I did not have a tripod for my camera. I did not. I ordered it at 4 o'clock on Amazon. It got here at 10, ready for this meeting. So I know that we're on the right track. That's the story.
That's the truth.
Yep.
It literally formed yesterday.
Yep.
This whole thing today literally was born yesterday.
So I'm dragging them kicking and screaming into this? No, I'm kidding.
No, I am. I'm just screaming all the way. So that's really not a joke. It's serious. I really didn't want to do stuff like this because I just didn't. But I see the value in it. I see the need for it. I see the value. It's purposeful, and I think that it's immediate. So it gives people something to either look forward to. I know we're going to do some strange and crazy things later on. So
I never do that.
I'm trying to be halfway sane today, because who knows who'll show up next time.
Oh, wait a minute. I did do something crazy.
I was telling somebody the other day, I said, this has got to end because my hair's starting to look like Jimmy Johnson. And that's just like, oh my God. It's like, oh, this is the Jimmy Johnson look for all of you who are bitching about your hair. I mean, I'm sorry.
You mean that coach for the Cowboys? Is that who you mean, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah.
You're much cuter.
Jimmy, whose hair was, always slicked back and just, perfect in every way.
Well, you're much cuter. You're much cuter.
Well, thank you.
If I were a guy, I would date you.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Am I red now? Okay, are you happy?
I am. Yay!
Join the Red Face Club.
I can make Gail blush all the time. She's easy. That's not a challenge. Yay! I got Elizabeth.
Okay, 1.
I'm going to try to get, okay, this is my goal. I'm going to try to get 3 a meeting.
Okay, I'm embarrassed now. So, okay.
Well, you're adorable.
No, I'm embarrassed. I'm not adorable. I'm embarrassed.
She's the only woman that bitches at me and makes me laugh. She bitches at me and I just laugh and laugh.
Oh, shut up.
See? I cannot help myself. So anyway, this is a meetup, and once we get enough people,
it's always almost the last one every time because of us two. So we gotta stop. And Gail, you talk.
well, that's what I was fixing to say before you interrupted me. I was going to say,
well, I'm just so excited to be here with you guys and doing this because, as Deborah said, she was looking for a community to come together and to be more open and more accepting of one another. Communication is so important. And right now, I think that's what we need to learn to do is to learn how to be more accepting and open and loving towards one another. And I think that's what we're going to do because we're going to have so many wonderful people, different instructors and teachers that are going to come on and teach us how we can do that. And I think the three of us, we've been meeting on here for several weeks now, and we have said some wild, crazy things and laughed at one another. And we do have differences, and we believe in different things, and yet we still accept one another, love one another, and communicate our thoughts and feelings. And that's what I'm hoping this is what this meeting is going to do for us.
well, I was so excited that there's a shadow. Who's coming into your house? Do they have an axe? Gail, I'm talking to you. There's someone.
Oh my God, that's
That's
your
my
husband.
husband. It's him. He's sneaking through here.
I just want to make sure you were safe.
Hey, listen, you can see I've got my angels over here. I've got my crystals and stones, and I got protection, so I'm good.
Well, I don't get excited very often, but I got excited about today. And so I even shaved my legs for this meeting today.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, 2, 3.
But I didn't really shave them. Do you remember the old-fashioned epilates where they yanked the hair out? Okay. So that's what I used. And I was like having this spiritual moment as I was doing this going, oh my God, please make this stop. I've never been in so much pain in my life. That's how excited I was. I was willing to go through that pain to be here all fresh and clean with you guys today.
Oh,
Elizabeth, it's way better behavior than yesterday. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh my God, yesterday was just, oh my God.
I have not said one bad word. I want a donut.
Well, we love you.
Ship it to you. We'll ship it to you through Amazon, okay?
Well, she says that, and I want it. I expect it. I expect it.
I'm thinking so hard and nothing's coming. I hate it when that happens. It's like, I know there's something I could say, and it's like, I'm still back to the epilady. I can't get over the epilady. I'm just like, oh.
It's a religious experience. I mean, seriously, I said, I'm like those monks that used to flagellate themselves with whips.
Oh my God. Stop it. Oh.
Hey, it is a spiritual group. It is a spiritual group, and I'm bringing the spirituality to the table. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay. Well, Gail, did you actually get to finish what you were talking about after the stalker came through the house and went outside?
I just wanted to really let everybody know just how excited I am about us coming together as a community and accepting one another regardless of our differences and our beliefs. And so I'm really excited about us getting to know everybody on Facebook. So when we meet in person, they're going to know who we are, and I'm looking forward to that. So yes, and my dog is barking, so I'm going to let him out.
Okay, let him out. We are looking for people other than ourselves to talk. We're going to get up here. We're going to amuse you guys. We're going to talk to you about things that you think are important, hopefully, if somebody tells us what they think is important. But what we're looking for is to pull people out of the community that we're building to come and teach, to come and share, to tell us why they do what they do, and then how they do what they do, and what they do that makes the world a better place. And I've said several times on the Spiritual Neighborhood page that a holistic healer is anybody that helps someone and improves the quality of their life. So if you are an artist, you're a holistic healer. Reiki, of course, that's big in the metaphysical and the spiritual community. People that are intuitives, people that are psychics, the mediums, of course. Just to get clarity, I do practice intuitive gifts, but I do profess to be a Christian. There's a place for the oddballs like me. I'm telling you, there's a place for us. Elizabeth, look at me.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear the song. There's a place for us. Yeah.
There's a place
My intuitive hearing, I heard that
for us.
really loud.
You know, and we all have more commonalities than we have differences. And that's what we want to focus on. And there will be times that people challenge you and they're going to make you think, and you're going to go, oh, no, but hell no. That's not what I think is right, you know, or I can agree with. But then look for the things that you can agree with. And because the point is that we want to be unified while diversified.
Right.
You know, I just made that up. Was that good?
You probably should write that down.
Oh, well, I got my pad and paper. Let me write it down.
Pen and paper and write that down.
You know,
I learned the hard way. If you say something and it really resonates with you, the best thing to do is write it down and keep it. Don't throw it away, but write it down in a safe place so that you can go back and reflect on it.
Well,
I was doing some stuff where I was cleaning out some things, and I found a book, kind of like a book, where I had taken notes back in 2007, 2008. And I'm practicing what I wrote now, what I had actually written back then. So there is something to that. So I highly recommend that. You know, we were talking about this yesterday, talking about journal.
yeah, you were going to tell them about how to do that and what the point of that was and how wonderful it was. So we were going to get to that, you know. So I think this is a good time to transgress, transverse, translide.
Transition.
I knew there was a tran there.
Word, yes. Well, one of the things that we were talking about yesterday, among other things that we can't repeat, was the idea of journaling. And the reason it is so important is because it allows that unconscious mind of yours to just run wild. It allows that fear to run wild. It allows that uncertainty to just run wild. And if you look at it from the perspective of the Artist Way class, one of the things that I teach my students when we start the Artist Way class is it's the greatest gift you can ever give to another individual, because it is a tool you can take with you for the rest of your life. You do not have to go anywhere to do this. You can stay at home and do this. It is something that's beneficial. And what will happen is you're required to write 3 pages, front, back, 3 pages. And what you do is you're not looking to grammar correct. You're not the grammar Nazi. What you're doing is whatever runs into your mind, whatever thought runs into your mind. And let me tell you, there were days when I actually wrote the words, what the hell am I doing this for? What the hell am I doing this for? And I did it for actually 3 pages because I couldn't get it out quick enough. It was just like boom, boom, boom. However, after I did that, I had another thought, and the other thought was, well, maybe this is to get rid of whatever's confining the space for my creativity. Maybe I'm doing it because of this, and maybe I'm doing it because of that. And it helped. It helped tremendously. But it is a book that you guard with your life, because you can write anything in it. Just make sure that nobody gets a hold of it, because it is your personal confessional. It is your personal space. So one of the things I'm starting to do right now is starting my journal and start doing it again, because like we were talking about earlier, these are very uncertain times. And one of the things that we're noticing in all this is everything that was is totally different. And it will always be totally different. Everything will change. Nothing will be the same. And so you have to be creative. How do you become creative? Try the journaling. Give it a chance. Be in a space where you just write and write and write and write and write. Nobody needs to interrupt you. It needs to be your personal space. And that's your time. That's not mom's time. That's not honey's time. That is your time.
I felt like she was talking to me.
Doesn't matter where you are. But my suggestion is this. Do it first thing in the morning. I do recommend having a cup of coffee or tea or water or whatever that is for you, because you need to get the body's juices active. You want your body to respond. Okay, I'm awake. I've got the fluids in my body. I am going to participate in this. We're hydrating ourselves because you do dehydrate at night. So you're hydrating your system, you're hydrating your body, and it becomes a ritual in many ways. The first thing I do when I wake up is I drink 8 ounces of water. 8 ounces of water right off the bat. And from there, I will have my coffee or whatever. But then I go back and I start writing. And it's continuous. You don't make a period unless you want to make exclamation points or you want to cuss or, XX, zero, whatever, right now, whatever it is. But it is to continuously stream that thought. It's a continuous thought stream where you get this information out. And one of the things you're really wanting to do is to release that fear, to release that I'm trapped. I was fine with all this because I am an introvert and I'm living in an extroverted world. And I was really okay until two things happened. I was categorized as elderly, and the second thing was being on lockdown. Now, I was real happy when everybody else could run around and they were enjoying themselves and I could stay home. It was really great. But when someone tells me I can't do something, now it's like, okay, now I'm having an issue because you told me I can't go anywhere. And not only that, you told me I'm old. I'm elderly. So I have issues with that. The third thing is, how am I going to make money? That's really no joke. How am I going to make money? How am I going to survive on my own without this stream of income? So the journaling will help you be more creative. Journaling will get you out of yourself so that you can have more freedom. It does give you freedom from a spiritual perspective. And if you guys are, if the people that are listening and watching right now, that is something we can do. It's a 13-week program. It is literally a 13-week program, and it can be done online. So we're throwing that out there. That is something in the future, because we don't know how long this is going to last. And because we don't know how long this is going to last, we need to have long-term, short-term goals.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter how long this lasts. Let's say that we get a miracle and tomorrow we're all turned loose and turned free and we run crazy for 2 days.
Okay, throw that out there. I like that. Make that so.
Hey, you know what? I am great at manifesting. I will tell you that, and I have been for years.
Do that. I'm leaving it up to you.
But the point is that even if that happens,
I have to buy you a donut store when it manifests. It's like, okay, she did it, so now what are we going to do?
Ooh, with the cream filling. I love those. But the point is that an online class is so convenient and so easy, and they were popular before this happened. Now they're just necessary. That's the only difference. But the variety and the flexibility is incredible. And, because we're talking about doing meetups online now. And we're talking about having happy hour online now. Y'all can sit around and watch me drink. I'm hilarious after my third drink. Trust me.
Okay, now that's the third.
We'll have to rate it, Elizabeth. We'll have to rate it. It won't be a G. It'll have to be an R here when we have happy.
Oh, you underestimate me.
I think we need masks. So we can just put it over our faces and go, okay, I don't know who she is.
Sock puppets.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Sock puppets.
It's the puppets.
Sock puppets.
But I want to clarify something. I want to clarify one thing that you said, Elizabeth. When you're talking about the conscious streaming, when you're writing, you said don't put periods and don't put exclamation points. You
Absolutely.
just run on
Unless
sentences.
Unless you feel the need to, what you're wanting to do is just write it. Don't worry about the grammar. It doesn't matter how you spell. You don't have to put periods. You don't even have to cross T's. What you're trying to do is that stream of conscious, and it just writes and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes.
I love
Whatever
that.
pops into your mind, even if it is, this just popped into my mind. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever done in my life. This really sucks! Exclamation point. But I'm going to continue this because she told me that if I did this, it would really make me feel better. Well, actually, okay, maybe I do feel a little better. See where we're going?
Well, see, I would feel better even if I didn't feel better because I'm like, oh, she's wrong. So now I feel better because I proved her wrong.
Well,
I'm a rebellious nature.
yeah, well, but still, that's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to not worry about it. This isn't like, it's not like you're writing a book. I mean, it's like, okay, this is just to you're defragging your brain. It's a computer. Let's defrag that. So yeah, I'm really worried about this. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no idea how I'm going to make income. So I'm looking to Spirit to help me with this. So if I were to ask Spirit, what would I ask Spirit? I would say, okay, I need help with coming up with new income. And you just continue that and just continue your thought and just make it a continuous stream.
Well,
and do 3 pages, front and back, keep a journal, order it online. Amazon's got a ton of them. We know how to do that.
let me throw a little thing into that addition. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But let me make a suggestion, because as a handwriting therapist, what you're saying is so powerful. Okay? Have people do it on unlined paper. That
It
will
can be done. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm just saying, if they do it on unlined paper, it triggers things in the subconscious that they're not even aware of, and
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It will be so powerful to do that. And I mean,
Yeah.
you are so on task and so on point with what you're telling people with this. And I think we should do this class. I think we need to set up a schedule, and you tell us what you want to do and when you want to do it, and let's make it happen, and let's start the first of next week.
Okay, well, one of the things we need to do is you've got to have the book, so you're going to have to go online. But let's talk about this a little more and do another one of these before the class, so we can actually show the book and then talk about the schedule so that people will have the opportunity to go online and order. I mean, you want to give people enough time. But in the meantime, what you can do is get prepared for the journaling. Literally, get prepared for
They can
the
start
journaling.
that right now. They can do that.
I like the idea of the online paper because, sometimes, well, I was a switchboard operator, and one of the things that I did was when people would call, I would either draw triangles or boxes, or I drew a lot of grapes, circles and circles, or I would write extension numbers, or I would connect, I'd draw stick figures or houses, but it helped me get through my day.
That's why you're so smart now. That's why you're so smart now. It really is. You have no idea what you did for yourself by doing that. We do have a question from Karen Wilson, and she said, who is Spirit? And Spirit is not a person. It's we're a part of a group that we started called the Spiritual Neighborhood, and this is kind of an extension of all this. And because we had to cancel our meetup group for Spiritual Neighborhood twice, this is our kind of test run to see if we can do this and start having meetups, and eventually want to bring in fresh faces. And we can do that by having people join us on Zoom.
Yes.
And we're also going to upload this to Facebook, and you can have watch parties of these after they're over as well. But we're just wanting to connect, Karen, with as many people as possible to be empowering and uplifting and enlightening. And just, I just like to be damn funny. And I hope I'd get to do that once in a while. So
I don't think that's going to be an issue.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, getting back to the point, we got to get back to the point. The point of what you said about the online paper, I think that's brilliant, as long as you can keep that in your stream of consciousness. I mean, you could draw circles and just, go on and on and on and on. Okay, so maybe you want to do lightning, and so you're just doing lightning, and it's like, okay, boom, whatever, and so you just continue on. Just make sure you have a really good pen to use, because that's really kind of key. I found it to be very important to me. I wanted one that had a lot of ink. I don't want to have to, I'm not in the middle of something and then it dies. It's like, no. Make sure you got the pens, order your pens. If you've got a bunch, I've got a whole bunch. People have their paper. I've got, tons and tons of journals and stuff because of classes and stuff. But I do think it's important that you keep it in a safe place. I do think it's a good idea to go ahead and get started, because it's easier once you start the class than it is to just all of a sudden, boom, you've got to do your journaling. But that's a really interesting point that out of all these years, I've never thought about that. I mean, seriously, I've never thought about that, because You have people that communicate in many different ways of getting info out, and if it means drawing it out, why not? I
Well,
mean, seriously, why couldn't you draw? Like, okay, I feel like I'm trapped in the house and I need to get out. You open that door. I mean, literally, you draw the door open. Okay, so now I'm outside and here's a tree and this is how I feel.
well, it's really powerful for people that are naturally visual, first of all. But,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
analyze handwriting as part of our process, but we also analyze art and also doodles. And like, everything I do as a profession, I've turned into something fun to do for entertainment as well. And so, like, we will take children that are 2 and 3 and 4 years old that they can't write, but we give them
right.
crayons and we have them doodle. And we analyze from their doodles. And it's very powerful what we can tell about these children and what's going on with them just from a page of doodles. It's incredible. So,
Wow. Well, of course, that makes sense, though. Of course, because they're associating what they're drawing. Well, you ask a child to, okay, draw this, and you see that creation. That's how they see it. Some of them are very detailed and very detail oriented, and some just, okay, draw the sun. They just draw a circle. Lights coming out, and we're good. I mean, that's how it's done. But actually, that really makes sense. I mean, we may actually create even a whole new class with that, especially with you having the gift of being able to analyze stuff like that.
well,
I would be willing to say, tell me what I need to write out, and let me send that to you, and then you tell me about me.
Well, the journals will be a great place to do that as well as if they're doing online paper. All I need is
Yeah,
3 pages of just journaling. It doesn't matter
yeah,
what you write. It's
right.
and it's always funny to me when I do analysis, and I think Annette's watching us right now, and she does handwriting analysis as well. I trained her at the council, and people will go, "Well, what did you think about what I wrote?" I'm like, "I didn't read it," and we don't. We
Right,
look at what is on the paper, not the words.
right.
And there's so much that goes into that. A full analysis can take 5 to 8 hours,
Makes sense, yeah, of course.
and there's 350 personality traits in handwriting that you can find.
Okay,
So
that just made me tired.
well, it is exhausting. It is
Yeah,
exhausting, but it is
yeah,
so empowering because the thing about it is that just like handwriting tells you about person, if you change your I can't talk. If you change your handwriting, you can also make adjustments to your personality and the way you
yeah,
think and your
that makes
perspective.
sense.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm
Okay.
excited.
Well, that's something I think we need to discuss and work on, and kind of fine tune it a little bit. But I think it would be most valuable to people to help get that creative juices flowing. One of the biggest questions I'm asked as a card reader or a psychic medium or anything along those lines, one of the questions I'm asked a lot of is, what should I do in this world? How can I get my creativity going? I have no idea what to do. And this is really one of the suggestions that I say, okay, let's talk about your creativity. Let's talk about you getting in touch with that creativity. And let's talk about you being comfortable with that creativity. But I think right now, one of the things we're discovering is a lot of us are just very uncomfortable with our creativity because it's forcing us out of our comfort zones. And especially those of us who are intuitives or those of us who are introverts, we're being kind of forced out into the public. And I don't think we're necessarily comfortable with that,
What's about
especially like in this
acceptance?
setting. I'm more comfortable in radio than I am this because you can't see me.
Well, it's also about acceptance on both levels. Acceptance of yourself for who you are. And
Yeah,
like my mother's always telling me, she goes, "You're going to break your arm patting yourself on the back." But it's not that I'm bragging on myself. It's that I finally have reached a point where I appreciate what I do well. And I understand I do it well. And sometimes we do need reassurance on that. And so if I don't get it from other people, I give it to myself.
Well, you got to give it to yourself before anybody else is going to.
Exactly. And then once you accept it in yourself, it's easier if other people don't accept. I think people go at this backwards. They look for acceptance from other people and then they can accept themselves. I think it's the other way around. You have to accept it in yourself and then you really don't give a damn if anybody else accepts you or not, you know?
I agree. Well, some of the best people in the theater, some of the actual best people in the theater know their creativity. They know they just shine. They know it. They know they have a talent. They know they have a gift. And they really don't care if you like it or not. And I really admire these people because they are so into that. They know what they know who they are in that respect. But I think a lot of us, we don't know. I think a lot of us aren't sure because I think a lot of us are also still growing. We're still going and adding something to the toolbox. But let me tell you, and I mean this sincerely, and I've said this for years, if this doesn't tell you to have more tools in your toolbox, there is nothing that will make this come home quicker because you cannot just be one thing in this world. You have got to have multiple tools in your toolbox.
Well, that's always been my biggest challenge when people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I own a private investigation company. I do coaching. I do handwriting therapy, and I entertain at parties. I said, so I don't have a label. Don't give me a label. But what's interesting is that every single thing that I do, the talents overlap. What makes me a good investigator makes me a good coach. What makes me a good coach makes me a good handwriting therapist. And all of those things make me really good at parties to entertain because I use my humor, my intuitiveness, my empathy, my ability to naturally read people through NLP techniques. I use all of those. So I always tell people it's really funny. I don't feel like I am truly all of me except at the parties. And that's why I adore doing them so much. Because I get to use all of my talents on some level, it seems like. And
those are fun. I mean,
they are.
You just get to be. That's it. You're on.
It is, as what I call a social introvert, because I'm comfortable with people, but they exhaust me. I get to spend short periods of time with people and move on. So I don't have to spend a lot of time like you do in coaching where you're with them for an hour to an hour and a half. I get a 5-minute read at a party normally. Sometimes they're longer if they're smaller parties. 5 minutes is great for me with my I call it spiritual ADD. You know, that's it. I'm going to tell you exactly what's wrong with you. Now go forth and fix it. And if you want more information, you can call me later. And we're moving on.
That explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
Exactly.
What does that explain? What does that explain? What?
Well, when you start to talk about something, it's very, it can be very blunt. I mean, it can just be, well, let's say it's more matter of fact.
It's truth.
You know, like
it's
boom.
Truth.
Exactly.
And then sometimes we have to wait a minute and get our breath back because it's like boom, and then we go, okay.
God, and I am so laid back with you two. That shocks me.
But do you know what? This is what I love about us three together is because we still love you and accept you that way. And that's what this is about.
Yeah, but did you hear what you just said? Let's talk about language patterns. We still love you. It's like, in spite of yourself, Deborah, we love you.
I'm still thinking, okay? I'm still thinking about that sentence. Let me ponder that for just a moment.
In spite of it all, girl, we just love you. Bless your heart.
Let's think about that, shall we? Let's just ponder that for just a moment. Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, okay, yes, we do. We still do.
What's not to love?
Don't we, Gail? We still do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh my God, I have makeup on and I just rubbed my eyes.
You know,
Good
in our
God.
meetings, when we're having our meetings and we're talking about what we want to do for our community and how we're going to do that, that we have those times where you help us laugh and it releases that, the worries that we're having right now. Laughter is such a good thing. So I thank you for that.
Well, people just have a stick up their butt a lot of times, because they're so afraid of blundering. And I'm not being mean about this. They're afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of being misunderstood. I'm probably one of the most misunderstood people on the face of this earth because people are always saying, "Did you really mean that the way it sounded?" Well, probably not, because I don't want to hurt your feelings. And God, you're over there crying like I don't know what. So no, that wasn't how I intended it. So I have learned to soften things. This is much softer than I used to be. I used to carry a gun when I said this crap.
Oh my God. Okay, I can see it now. The gun comes out, so I just have one more thing to say. You will do this, right? Yes.
Well, I was a bounty hunter and a bail bondsman.
Oh my God.
Y'all didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
Something new every day with you, Deborah.
Well, let me tell you something. I married a man, and when I was in my early 20s, that died after we'd been married for a year. So this is where a lot of my empathy skills come from. I have experienced a lot of things that most people never think about. And so he owned a bail bond company. We actually owned two. When he died, I didn't even really know where the jail was. I worked for Honeywell and Wayne Computers as a consultant, and I'm like, what the hell? We had $1 million in bonds running the streets, and those people had to go to court or go to jail, and that was my money. So I learned that business really quick, really quick.
I bet.
And you learn to read people really quick, because your life depends on it, literally. Literally.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does. That makes sense.
But that's how I got into the private investigation business. I transitioned because I did decide after a couple of years that maybe that was a little too dangerous for a single mom trying to raise a baby,
Yeah, that would be, I could see that.
Yeah. So, I just look at all of these things as life experiences that we all can bring to the table. And you two probably have had such a wide variety of experiences to share with people, along with what I have, that there's not anything out there that someone could bring to the table that if not one or all three of us could say, I've experienced something similar. Let's talk about it. I'll tell you what I did about it. If you don't like it, you can tell me to shut up, But
Yeah,
I
that's just a whole world of diversity right here.
Yeah.
Just such a diverse individual. Just scary. It's scary how diverse I am.
well, you're
Sarcasm.
you're kind of a scary bitch anyway. I'm gonna just tell you.
I am.
You are.
I am. I own that. I will own that.
I like it though. I like anybody that intimidates me a little.
It is a scary thing. I scare myself, so I can imagine.
Oh my gosh. So do we want to close for now? And
I think so.
And what are we going to do, a happy hour with wine?
oh yeah, I got the name for it. Spirits filled with spirits.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Elizabeth's not loving it.
Are we wanting to schedule that now or? put that
No, let's
later?
talk. Let's talk
I
first.
think we need to talk about it first and really get some feedback and see what people really want to. I think it's really kind of one of those situations as well that we also want to get the feedback from people and what did they say. And one of the things I know I'm gonna get messages about is I am not the teacher for not touching your face, because that's all I have done the entire time we have been online. Although I have used, my hands are clean, but still, I am not. I guess it's a habit, and I need to break away from that. So
Well, you know what you know what I would say to those people? It's not our job. Not everything is our job. It's not our job to set the perfect example.
That's not mine.
And we're in our own homes, and I'm touching my face all I want to.
I do that though. That is something, that's something to be aware of. Is not to do that. So I will try not to. It's not going to happen. I feel it. I can, as soon as I said it, I can just
And
feel.
especially when Deborah says something that makes you do this.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God. Or she'll say something. I can just feel the red come out. Be like, okay, this is okay.
Well, it's a good thing we're not in the same room, because I have been known to tweak people a little bit to get their attention.
No.
So before we go, ladies, I haven't gotten that information from my friend to share exactly what she experienced with the coronavirus, but I wanted to just share with people this, and that there's so much fear going out there about what's going on in the world. If we can write that down, like you're talking about, and release that fear, and then send love out. Send love out. Then we can quiet that fear and anxiety that's going on with us. And there's a lot of things we can do other than writing. I have essential oils that I smell. I have stones that I hold. So there's a lot of things out there. But that writing is so important to release all that anxiety. Release it and then send it love and light.
And let me reassure,
because that's really a good point. You can use those essential oils to help you as you're trying to calm down, especially after you've read something that was very traumatic or emotional for you, or something that you felt like, oh my God, all she did was make me cry. Well, good. That's my job. It's to get you to do that so that you will release that because it's been locked up in the body, and the body's going, okay, now we're going to release that. One of the things that even today, when certain things will happen that will remind me of my mom, and it'll trigger just, tears from me. It's like, how could this possibly be? I've done so much crying. How could this still be there? Well, there's still that part of me that finally showed up so that I could heal it. So as soon as you do, when you have that moment where you're crying or you feel the tears run down and you're just like, oh my God, that was such a release. Just remember to fill that space up with whatever. But make sure it's something positive, like the golden light of God, the white light of Christ, the purple color of purity, whatever that color is that means something of a good, positive nature to you. White light of the Christ is really one of the best ones. But I also like the golden light of God because it's not like you're broken, but you're filling that space up with gold. Literally, you are now even more precious than before. Not that you weren't, but it's very significant. But do that when you're journaling so that you go, wow, I actually feel like I've healed that space or that place. And it's important to know, even if you don't cry, you're still releasing. Yes. Even if it just makes you laugh, you're still releasing. Because as Gail has told us many times before, if we could just laugh about something, we'll heal that part of us that needs that.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the grief thing because there's so many things that people grieve over, not just the loss of a loved one. And grief is grief regardless. And when I was widowed at a young age, what became apparent to me years and years later is that I was still grieving, even though I was happily married and in love and had my family. There was still a part of me that grieved. And so I actually did some self-hypnosis on myself and found that I was able to go in and reconcile a lot of that. But and Sharon, a really good friend of mine that passed, and y'all know Sharon Cody, and she was a huge mentor for me and one of my best friends in my life. And she says, now, do you want to make that go away completely? And I said, you know what? No, I want to honor him to some degree because we had an extreme marriage and an extreme love. So what we did is I sat down and I wrote a script that anchored in on the anniversary of his death every year that I would automatically remember at 1 p.m. and have just a moment of quiet and peace and respite and joy in celebrating him and let it go. And it's just been a beautiful experience. And it's still a form of grief, but it's a celebration now.
That's cool. That's empowering. That's really empowering. Well, because I know we're going to wrap this up. Do you guys have cards with you? Do you have cards on your table? Or
what kind of cards? Business cards, reading cards?
Anything. Just, I want y'all to shuffle, and then I want you to draw a card.
Oh, I don't have my cards with me. They're in the other room.
Okay, well, I'll draw for you. How's that?
Oh, okay. I give you permission to infiltrate my spirit.
I'm gonna let Gail do that. I stand corrected. I'll let Gail do that. Okay, Gail, what card did you get?
Monk, none.
See, I was flagellating myself today. 3! I did it.
Okay.
There's a volume here. I know I can find the volume here somewhere.
So I got this card. It says monk, none. And it has the light attribute, and then it has the shadow attribute. Here's the book.
Oh, yeah.
And it says here, the light says, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit.
That's me.
Oh my God! How appropriate is that?
Yeah. So and then the shadow attribute says negative judgment of physical world, and so I'm going to own that. I mean, I think the last few days that I've been seeing some of the crazy things that people are doing, and just, going, what, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And having to step back and going, oh, I get it. It's the fear. And so, the negative judgment of the physical world it's just that. It's seeing, but then I have to look at all the wonderful things that all of our communities are doing. There are people making masks. There are people donating pizzas to the hospitals and to the fire departments. And there's just so many people out there. So focusing on that and trying to let go of that negativity of that, not even 1% of people that are doing things that are not in love and light of what's going on with us right now. But and that turns me back to going, okay, go to the single-minded dedication to Spirit and praying about it. Like I said earlier, instead of us putting that fear or in anger or judgment out there, maybe we send it love and light and release it.
And that you brought up an excellent point, that what we need to be doing is, so if you guys listened to Isaac Bradfield and he was talking about the virus,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that Isaac talked about is the fact that the virus was actually born and created into the world on December the 17th, I think. So he's looking at it from a Scorpio perspective. So if we look at the coronavirus as a Scorpio perspective, then we need to really send it love and light, because, in a Scorpio kind of environment, it can strike anybody. There is no race, creed, color. There is no age limit. It can strike anywhere. Right. Just envision the scorpion, stinging here or stinging there. And these people got missed, but that one got hit. I mean, literally, it is making itself known, and the presence is known. So with looking at it from that point of view, one of the things that I do want to throw out there is the best thing that you can do as an individual to help support the planet, to help support all of us, is to simply say something positive about, thank you for showing up, and you showed me what I could do, and if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have been this creative. Thank you so much. And then, bless it. And then, I'm so glad you've gone on. I'm so glad your time on here is done. I'm so glad you got your point across. Yes, we need to pay attention, and now you're gone. Or now, I'm so glad they created the virus vaccine now. Thank you so much for that. Those are real powerful words, powerful phrases. And I agree with you, Gail. This is the time to do that. Now's the time to say it, not later. Now's the time to do it. Do it now. Do something positive.
One of the things that I do when I can't get my head wrapped around things logically, and I can't embrace things even on a love spiritual basis, is I just sit down and I say, I love you, I forgive myself, and thank you. And sometimes I say that 5 or 10 times a day about the situation or the person, but it always helps. Always.
Anytime you have that negative thought, that's the perfect thing to do. Seriously, it is the perfect thing to do, because eventually you will rewire your brain, and it will understand, no, that's not acceptable.
Because it will quit arguing. So Lori Dees, who is a friend of mine, just commented. She says there's still beauty in this world, and she has a wonderful, wonderful spirit. Lori, actually, she and I met under professional circumstances, and she just always reminds me of what a truly positive, uplifted person does, even in the midst of negativity. And she's always looking for the positive, and even if she doesn't feel it, she lives it. And so I think that that's truly inspirational, that we have to remind ourselves not to focus on the negative. You can be aware of it without embracing it. And there's some things we don't need to embrace. I'm not embracing a porcupine. I'm just not. I'm not embracing a skunk.
And it goes back to the theory of the stove or the oven. You know that there is something that lurks in the kitchen and it can burn you. It's called a stove. But every time you go into the kitchen, you don't scream, oh my God, well, I do, because I don't cook. I mean, let's get real. It's like, oh my God, it's an oven. What do you want me to do? Really? now I have to cook. Oh my God. Seriously, you don't go in there and run around and go, oh my God, there's knives in here. Oh my God, there's scissors in here. You don't do that. You have a great respect for, you know, their tools. They are tools that can provide sustenance for you. They will help you create things. They can peel an apple. I mean, all these wonderful things. But we know the dangers of things, but we know that we don't have to push that individual or push that item to the point where it's going to react back. You know, it will cut you, it will burn you. I mean, you don't want those kinds of reactions. You just have great respect for it. Treat it with respect. Let me tell you, I don't know what I did to my microwave, but I put some water to heat it up for coffee. And I took it out and I thought, man, that cup's a little bit warmer than I'm used to. And I put it on the counter and I dumped some coffee, instant coffee in there, and it just went everywhere. And I thought, God almighty, I don't know what the temperature was or what I had set it to, but I mean, it just like, and I remember thinking, wow, I'm so glad I wasn't, I'm so glad I was dressed, first of all, because it literally went everywhere. But secondly, that it didn't, you know, I didn't have a burn or anything along those lines. But I'm not going to go back in there into the kitchen and go, oh my God, beware of that microwave because it can explode things. No, you just go, obviously I'm not paying attention. I did something incorrectly. I need to be aware of what I'm doing.
The coffee mug wanted you to change brands of coffee.
Huh?
The coffee mug wanted you to change brands of coffee. They
Well,
were.
it's not going to happen right now. Not right now.
So Lori wanted to remind us that you can win people over that don't understand us with love, and that if you want to be forgiven, you have to offer forgiveness. So
Okay.
those are two good comments.
Write those down.
They're on your
Okay.
screen. They're on your screen.
Okay, I'm going to draw a card for today. Oh, okay. I was going to say you're not going to believe this, but I would think you would. I got to get a better way of showing that. It's speak your truth. Can you believe that?
Is that the Ascended Masters cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those. Those are cool.
Saint Bernadette says to speak your truth. That's the card for today. So you guys need to speak your truth. And that goes back to the writing in the journal. Write your truth. Speak your truth. If you're not happy, let other people know. And there's nothing wrong with letting people know that you need things.
So
Seriously.
don't stifle me. Don't stifle me.
Yeah.
I got to be me.
Yeah. He is really seeing was stifling her. Oh my God. Yeah, that's like, no.
All right, who's going to pull?
Do you feel like you're being stifled? Seriously?
Oh my God. No, that would be a lie. Are you going to pull a card for me, Gail?
That is not the truth. So speak your truth. Speak your truth. That's your card for today. Speak your truth.
Gail's going to pull one for me.
I did.
Okay.
I pulled Child Divine.
That's me. I'm childlike. Yes.
Yeah, it says here, innocent, purity, and redemption suggest a special connection with the divine.
Yes.
That would be her.
I am so innocent. Yes.
Well, okay, your shadow attributes, and you'll have to figure out how that fits for you, but an inability to defend oneself against negative forces.
Oh, well, that just means that sometimes I have a very dark side. This is a subject that we can do a whole hour on. I have a very dark side. And one of the things that one of my mentors told me years ago that I have really embraced because it resonated for me, a lot of people would freak out. She says, you know what's really great about you, Deborah, is that most people have, or all people have a dark side. Very few people acknowledge it. She goes, you acknowledge yours, you embrace it, you love it, and because of that, it does not run you. You run it.
Right.
And I just have
to
always
know it.
thought that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, seriously, you have to know that dark side. We all have the ability to be Hitler. All of us have that ability. We all have a dark side. We simply choose not to go in that direction because it doesn't serve a purpose for us.
Exactly.
So embracing that dark side, absolutely. Getting help with that dark side, absolutely. I mean, that is a serious thing. But you can't have light without the dark. You can't have dark without the light. I mean, it is both ways. You have to have both. It's
Well, and it's helped me very much with my spiritual journey, and I don't want to prolong this any longer, but I will say this: I do spiritual warfare. And it's because of me being very aware of my own dark side that I can do that and not be fearful. And I think I feel like that's what I was prepared for all my life. And it just took me a long time to get there. So, Lori said amen. She knows a little bit about my history. She said amen. All right, sign us off.
I don't even want to know. I'm not even looking today. The sun just going by. I'm not looking today.
Well, I am hoping that everyone that got to see this enjoys it. And if you see it later that you enjoy it, I feel much better. I hope everybody else feels better. And we will.
I do. I'm more embarrassed than normal, but I do feel better.
Well, maybe I'm your lesson. Everything's a lesson. Everything's a lesson. And sometimes I'm the lesson.
Lord. Well, Gail, I think we've got our hands full.
It'll keep us on our toes, I think.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, seriously. So, how do people get in touch with you?
Gail.
Me or Deborah?
Gail.
Either one.
Through Facebook. Gail Hudson, Facebook.
I have my Facebook page, which you're going to know if you're watching this, because this will be posted on Facebook. And then my website is DeborahColleenRose.com. And most of you have my phone number because it's all over. So just whatever.
Well, you get in touch with me on, actually the quickest way to get in touch with me is texting me at 214-454-0072. And yes, I am doing Zoom readings and I am doing readings by phone. So yes, it can be done.
Yes.
She says that so forcefully. Ooh, I got a tingle.
We'll have a lot more information later. I'm thinking about putting another website together. I did close it down, doing some changes, and maybe come back up soon. But till then, Facebook.
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at doing is I'd like to do Zoom entertainment and Zoom parties. And then we as a group will also be offering classes. And we did I got to brag on us a little bit and then we'll go. We did a list of all of our talents and classes. And I think there was like over 65 subjects that between the three of us could offer and train and things. So, you know, even if we have to be in lockdown for 5 years, we can keep y'all entertained for years.
I don't think we'll ever run out of anything to talk about.
Well, I never do.
Well, it hasn't happened so far, so I don't see that in the foreseeable future. As long as she can speak, I think they'll never.
I'm going to learn sign language too, so that way I won't be limited. So that's on my list of things to learn.
Yeah. Well, anyway, okay. So I think, first of all, I just want to thank everybody that tuned in. I also want to thank everybody that's going to tune in later on. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an awesome event, and thank you guys for being a part of it as well. This has just been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate all of y'all, and if you enjoyed this, tell your other friends. It's going up on Facebook, and you can do watch parties or whatever. And we are recording this on Zoom and may be able to put it up on YouTube later. So we'll talk to y'all later.
We'll get back to y'all with what's coming up next.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Artist Way class as it progresses. I still think it's a perfect opportunity for people to come together in community. It's not an easy thing to do, but you know what? This is the time for change. And if you're really serious about making a change in your life for a permanent change, the Artist Way class is one of the best ones that you can do.
Well, I'm going to take it. I'm excited. I'm taking it. Sign me up.
Me too.
Woohoo!
Me too.
All right, I'm hitting the finish button. Bye.
Okay.
Love you, ladies.
Signing off. Good night.
1, 2, 3. Bye.